Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We have 4 members, so I will open the March 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Welcome to everyone. We have 2 public hearings tonight, and those are the only 2 items on the agenda other than review of minutes, which we'll do at the very end. So it's 5 o'clock and I'll open the first public hearing, which is 22 Beaver Street for Connor and Dale Carey. The request is for an area variance for relief from the 5-foot side yard and rear yard setbacks for an accessory structure, which is a garage to replace the existing garage. And in lieu of the 5-foot requirement, the request is to reduce that down to 2 feet. And I believe that 2 feet is consistent with the, I'm sorry. Is that exactly where the existing garage is in the corner? Or is it a little bit closer than?
It's exactly, the 2 corners line up where they are now.
Okay.
So it's just going to come farther forward and farther towards the middle of the property.
So it's just expansion in the length and in the width and is, all right. So my printout actually got the one on the side, but didn't pick up the one in the rear. The one on the side is for an expansion of 5 feet. Right.
Roughly, yeah.
And the width is roughly 6 feet, I guess, in the back, sorry. 6 feet extension.
It was going from 24 by 19 to 30 by 24. So yes, it's 5 feet deeper and 6 feet longer.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, the illustration is pretty good.
Okay, good. So Jane, was there any public comment?
No, there was nothing. You know, we had a couple people just asking what exactly was going on, but nobody had any comments one way or the other.
Okay, good. And is there
And
any,
did we establish where the pin was?
were you able to look?
It's not find the pin yet, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. But we are sticking with the exact same footprint as existing, so that
Right.
is going to mitigate that a little bit. All right. We do have the criteria responses. But we typically would do that after the public hearing closes. Does anybody have any comment or question for the applicant during the public hearing timeframe? No. Okay. Since this is so quick, we may want to hold this open and talk about the other one a little bit, or maybe since there's no comment, we can just go ahead and go through this. Do you think, Jane?
That's up to you. I mean, are you thinking there's going to be any issues? You just want to get it done with, or?
Yeah, maybe since there were no public comments at all, maybe we can just go ahead and proceed since all the public comments were directed to be submitted in advance. All right, so I'll close the public hearing at 5:03. And unless someone else has any comment or question, I will kind of go through the criteria and give the response of the applicant. And then please, any board members, please supplement or agree or add whatever kind of comment you'd like to. So this is for an area variance. Before an area variance can be granted, state law requires that the zoning board take into consideration the benefit to the applicant if the variance is granted, weighed against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community, taking into consideration the following. Whether undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance. And the responses was no undesirable change and neighboring properties will not be affected. Any other comments from the board? Hi, Denise.
Hi,
Georgia.
thank you for letting me in.
Sorry about that. I didn't notice it. Anyway.
Okay.
We're on 22 Beaver Street. There was the public hearing I closed already. There was no public comment ahead of time and no comment during the public hearing timeframe. So we're just going through the criteria that were submitted. And number 2 is whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. Response was no, our vehicles don't fit in the current garage and the floor structure is also unstable. Both of which seem very reasonable to me. Any other comments?
Nope.
Number 3, whether the requested area variance is substantial. We're increasing the size from 24 by 19 to 30 by 24, which is about 264 square feet of additional space. Any other thoughts to add to that one?
No.
No? Okay. Whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental condition in the neighborhood or district? No, it will not. Does anyone know of any adverse effect or impact? No. Whether the alleged difficulty is self-created, which consideration shall be relevant to the decision, but not necessarily preclude granting of the area variance. The comment was, we purchased the house with the garage in disrepair, which is true. Self-created actually relates back to when you purchased the house, these zoning regulations were in effect, so you were kind of responsible for knowing them, but self-created is virtually always a reality with any variance request, so it is not a really heavily weighted criteria. Does anyone have any other questions or comments or any point of discussion?
No,
Okay, Marcy, you almost always do our motions. Are you
Yes, I'm all ready.
ready to do that?
I'll make a motion to grant an area variance at 22 Beaver Street for the replacement of the existing garage, which already intrudes into the side and rear setbacks.
Okay,
Which gives relief for a rectangle 3 feet by 5 feet,
okay,
in the 5-foot side yard setback,
okay,
and a rectangle of 3 feet by 6 feet
okay,
in the rear yard setback.
okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
okay.
Who seconded?
I did.
Oh, do you? Okay,
Any further discussion? Okay,
No discussion.
okay. How do we do this? All those in favor, I'll go. I'm gonna go and then just everyone say your name and respond with your vote. My vote is aye. Maybe I'll
Marcy
call
is
it.
aye.
Okay, Marcy. All right. Dave?
Randy is aye.
Okay,
David's aye.
Denise is I.
okay. So actually, I guess Georgia really should have done the vote rather than Randy, since we have, no, do we have?
No, Georgia, I as well.
Okay,
Okay, no
If you
problem.
go in order of appointments, then yes,
Yeah,
George is
yeah.
in front of Randy.
Oh, I didn't know we had hierarchy.
Yes,
I don't know if that's the
I
I
proper
asked
way
that
or
last
not.
time.
we're so fortunate to have two alternates. We don't usually have that issue. Okay, so, all right, so all ayes, no nays, no abstentions. So the variance is granted to the Connors,
Thank you very much.
or the
Awesome.
Carey, sorry.
Aye.
Good, thank you. Good luck.
All right,
Take care.
we're set to log off.
yeah,
We're all
yeah,
set.
you can log off.
Guys, have a great evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Thanks very
Bye.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, the time is 5:09. We'll open our second public hearing, which is for 74 Susquehanna Avenue. This is an application for a special permit for a home occupation for a car detailing business. And I know that we have one, Dave Clinton is here to participate in the public hearing portion. And some information had been submitted ahead of time and was sent around by Jane earlier. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to look at it, or if Jane, if you'd like to summarize it.
Um, hopefully everybody understood what I sent out. I mean,
Mhm.
does anybody have specific questions I mean, David's on board, so he's part of the concern as far as the questions and things like that. Maybe we should just kind of go through what he has questions on.
Okay, and then just to clarify, he's the only person who had any comment to add or any
Correct,
public input?
correct. He's the only comments one way or the other, so.
Okay, so David, would you share with us whatever comments you'd like to make?
Thank you, Susan. My concerns are the potential environmental impact and the nearness of this business to the Susquehanna River.
Understandable.
And I'm Ms. Quinton, if I may, Charlene, we spoke before this meeting started. What detailing services are you offering? And I wrote down some questions with examples. I believe you have my sheet in front of you, or you saw it.
Oh, I don't. I saw an email earlier, but the water runoff, I sent a picture to Jane earlier, which was of the spring, since obviously with the winter you can't really tell. But my driveway sits and it slants down into my lawn. So any like water runoff would go down into my lawn. And a secret that I don't tell very many people is washing a car with Dawn dish soap and a little bit of water put into a pressure washer. So that's what I use to wash my cars. Everything else I use in the garage. But Dawn dish soap has literally worked the best out of every chemical after 27 years of doing this business. That cleans the car the very best. It really does. Like, you'd be amazed. Just with a little, force of pressure from a pressure washer. But anyways, like, it wouldn't run out to the street. It wouldn't run to my neighbors. It would run right down into my lawn. And like I said, that's the only chemicals that I use. And that I know that was a concern. So, and any other concerns you may have?
I can pull up his document if you want to see. Yeah.
Do you wax, seal the cars?
Oh, yeah, yep. I buff and I wax the cars inside the garage. And I use 3 buffing compounds and 2 waxing compounds.
And they're not a liquid, are they? Is it like a paste or?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. What about, and I had to do a little reading because I don't know much about this business. Do you polish the wheels?
Yes. Under the wheel wells, I wash the whole underneath the car. I clean the door jambs, the motor, the trunk. And I don't just clean, I shine, the motor, and I clean everything from the headrest to the carpet below. I can fix carpet holes, leather repair, everything I completely clean and scrub and then shine and put a protective coating on afterwards.
Well, I just read that
Well,
some people, the wheels, like the aluminum wheels or whatever wheels are made out of.
Special polish. Yeah.
What is it?
It's a special polish between different wheels. There's aluminum, there's stainless steel, there's chrome, there's many different ones, and there's different polishes for every one. And I have mechanical buffers and the compounds that work with each specific wheel. And I even have colored waxes that go, like I said, I've been in this business for 27 years, operating out of my life. But yes, there's a different chemical for basically every wheel that they have out there.
And when these chemicals go in your back lawn, you don't feel that they would get in the ground?
Nope, I do not do any, that doesn't get in the lawn. The only thing that I do is I pressure wash with Dawn liquid soap, which I try not, that's kind of my little secret. But other than that, any kind of wax and polish is done in my garage. It doesn't go into the lawn. It doesn't go anywhere but the car. And anything that goes onto my concrete floor in my garage, I wipe up. So nothing gets exposed to any kind of environment. So except Dawn dish soap and water.
One more question. You mentioned in your application that you will carry liability insurance. What limit of liability insurance will you carry? Such as 1,000 or 200,000?
It's $500,000.
Right. Very good. And if to the board, if I may address the board, may I ask your zoning enforcement officer, Jane, one question?
Sure.
or maybe I should be addressing the board. Jane, you inquired of the Department of Environmental Conservation today as to whether this type of business should be licensed or regulated, and they sent you a very terrific response, correct?
Correct, and that was passed along to all the board members.
And
Now
me-
I will ask the board, could I get that email into the record? And it was as whether or not this type of business should be licensed, which I did my best. It generally, this type of service potentially has DEC oversight, but I think it said since there might be only one car a day, they didn't think was necessary.
I mean, it's just me, you know, I'm a single woman living alone. If I do 3 to 4 cars a week, I mean, 3 cars a week is kind of my max. You know, it's not like I have tons of employees or anything else. I'm just, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
my
just-
understanding of the DEC response is that they back
Yep.
that up.
If the DEC email could just be part of the record, I would be pleased.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
any response is always in the record.
Thank you.
So.
I have nothing further.
So for looking at the DEC response, then this is,
You want-
I mean, even the car washing is supposed to be done in the garage, but that drain will still go to the backyard. Is that what you're saying, Charlene?
Yes, most definitely. I tried to send a picture to Jane earlier to show that my driveway, actually, my lawn is probably about, I don't know, I would say 1.5 feet. If you could see way into the back over it, it's hard. It's the only picture I have. But if you see the garage, to the right of the garage, my lawn dips completely down.
Yeah,
I would say at least like 1 foot down. My snowblower guy got caught in there the other day because he went down, didn't realize it was a big dip because of all the snow, and got caught in there. But it is quite a big dip, and that's where all my water runs. And I have a huge back lawn in the back there.
okay. But the washing will be in the garage and it'll still, it does look like it would still drain that way. Is that
Yeah.
the intent? Okay, all right. So I read this briefly. Does anyone see anything on the DEC response that they're concerned about, given the description that we just had of what the, of how the land slopes and her practices in doing all the cleaning? Okay. So, is it- Okay, all right. So is there any item that's been brought up that's any concern that has not been addressed? All right, then maybe we'll close the public hearing and go through the special use permit criteria. Does that make sense?
Very.
So it's 5:18. We'll close the public hearing at 5:18. And I don't know if it came this time, but I think it may have come at the last meeting with your attachments, everyone. The special use permit criteria from section 316C of the zoning law.
It's up on the screen also right now.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so I'll just go through and we will decide whether there is yes, no, or not applicable impact. Need the proposed use with the exception of home occupations, accessory dwelling units, and short-term rentals must meet a demonstrated community need as identified in the adopted municipal plan or land use policy. Since this is a home occupation, I would say that's not applicable.
Okay.
And please correct me if anyone has any other ideas. Adjacent land uses. The proposed use must not be detrimental to its site or to adjacent parcels. The proposed use must be of such location, size, and character that it'll be in harmony with its surroundings with the appropriate northerly development of the area in which it is proposed to be situated. I would personally say yes, just because the scale of what we're talking about is just 3 or 4
Yes.
cars a week.
I agree, yes.
I agree, yes.
Okay, all right. Location and size of use, the nature, volume, and times of operation of the use involve the size and layout of the site in relation to the use, and the location of the site with respect to existing and future streets, Providing access must be in harmony with the orderly development of the area in which it is proposed to be situated. Does anyone have any comment other than think that that's, wait, so impact is no impact. I should have said no for that number 2. I'm sorry, not yes.
Did we
So-
not discuss that, like, is there an hours of operation or a limitation of when the cleaning of the vehicles can happen?
I
think-
only do it during the day, basically from 9 to like about 4. Anything else, I do in the garage. If it gets to be any later, I'm closed in the garage. I don't make any noise. I don't blare music or anything. So I don't know if that was an issue, but and obviously pressure washing, I don't even do that till after 9 a.m. The car usually gets dropped off by 9 a.m. is done by the evening when you would get off of work.
Okay,
So Susan,
And
you
I
said the
think-
response to 2 should be no, since there's no impact, right?
yeah, I was just reading that backwards. And so I would say that location and size of use, we would say the same thing, say no.
Yes,
Because,
I agree.
because
No
it
is the
is
answer.
during hours. I mean, I think that we can take hours into consideration, but I think that the only thing that's really addressed in the zoning law is saying that any home occupation has to operate within a structure, it can't operate in the open outside. So I think that's probably how the consideration for any kind of noise or disruption is most controlled by the zoning law.
Now, if it is a huge deal, I mean, I would have to do it with my clients, but there is a car wash down the street, which I could bring it to if it really becomes a big issue. I'm willing to work around whatever the zoning board is willing to do or offer me. But that would have to be up to, I'd have to work that out through my clients. And I don't necessarily like driving my clients' vehicles or having to ask them to drive them. But, if it was an issue, then I would try to address it and work around it. That's all I wanted to say.
I mean, I think the way you described it, to me, as long as it doesn't fall under the, as long as it isn't a concern with our understanding of what DEC would regulate, what you've discussed, the way that the site is located and the way the site drains and the fact that all the activity is going to be in the garage, I don't feel any need for you to have to use any off-site washing facility. There may be some days or, some point in the winter, whatever, that you'd rather do that. Certainly that's, not prohibited, but I don't think we would weigh in on whether you needed to take it off-site for any reason that I've heard so far, at least.
Okay, thank
I
you.
agree.
All right.
Thank
Agree.
So number 4, location, nature, and size of buildings and structures, location, height, footprint, volume of buildings, the location, nature, and height of walls. Fences, landscaping features must be such that they will not hinder or discourage the development and use of adjacent parcels and buildings. I would suggest that's in A, since there's no change to any structure that's being proposed or envisioned.
No,
Agree.
it's
Okay. Number 5, density of development, density of the surrounding area, such as lot size, distances between structures, amount of open space, street width, and parking regulations must maintain the character of the zoning district in which it is proposed to be situated. So I would say that also, I would determine to be no impact. We did discuss last time that this, the issue of parking, and that's mitigated by the fact that the applicant does not have a car that would be parked on site, and so the only cars would be one, or in rare instances, 2 cars that would be.
Oh,
one per
exactly.
fleet. Okay. Any other thoughts on number 5?
Nope.
Okay. 6, vehicular access and circulation. Provisions for vehicular traffic access and circulation, including intersections, road widths, alignment, grade, pavement surfaces, stormwater infrastructure, visibility and traffic controls must promote safety, considering the proposed use. Access ways must be adequate for safety, but not excessive. So I would say also no on that. Does anyone else have any other
Agree.
thought on that? No impact? 7, pedestrian circulation, provisions for pedestrian traffic access and circulation, walkway structures, control of intersections with vehicular traffic, and overall pedestrian convenience must promote safety and accessibility. I would say that's either no or NA. When people drop off cars, do they usually, then they get a ride home, I guess.
Yes,
there's-
usually, yep.
Then I would.
Or they, I mean, a lot of them work right at the hospital and just walk across the street.
Just leave it while they're at work, okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot of the time. Like, well, I mean, in Scar Lake, when I was doing it there, they would actually get a ride back, but a lot of my clients were doctors and lawyers. So being right across from Bass, it was kind of very important to me, you know,
Okay.
and I've talked to a lot of doctors at the hospital and everything, but I just told them I had to go through all my meetings and, my committees but I've been telling them all about it and they're all excited, but
Good, thanks. Okay, so for that one, we'll just say no, is no impact. Does anyone have any other thought?
No.
Good.
Agree.
Number 8, parking, location, arrangement, appearance, sufficiency of off-street parking spaces and loading berths must be adequate for the proposed use and in harmony with adjacent parcels. General landscaping of the site must be compatible with plant species, in the area, serve to mitigate the visual impact of the parking area. I would say that also is no impact. There's certainly no change proposed or no change needed for the parking or landscaping or any of those concerns.
Agree.
Number 9, layout, the location, arrangement, size, design, and general site compatibility of buildings, lighting, and signage must be in general harmony with the character and appearance of the surrounding neighborhood.
NA.
NA or no impact?
I would say NA.
NA?
This may have been discussed the last time, but there's no sign that's going out or anything like that.
Yes, it went to the planning board and they did provide or approve a 2 foot by 3 foot. No,
Okay,
an 18 by 24
Yeah.
inch sign that can be located either on the fence or
On
next
a
to
yard
the
stake.
exterior. But
So I
yes,
would-
that was approved contingent on getting the special use permit.
thank you.
Okay. So I would say we should probably say no then rather than NA since there is some signage.
Yep. Good point.
No impact. Number 10, drainage facilities and erosion control, stormwater management plans and drainage facilities must be in conformance with applicable regulations, must protect natural resources and adjacent parcels. We reviewed all that. It's consistent with the DEC comments that all the drainage would be just drain to the site and percolate. And the quantity is very low.
So that
So
would
I
be
would say
that
no
would
impact.
be a no then?
Yeah, I would say no impact. Yep. Does everyone agree with that?
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay. 11, landscape. The nature and extent of landscaping on the site must meet or exceed all legal requirements for screening and must not hinder or discourage the development and use of adjacent parcels and buildings. Existing trees and shrubbery must be retained to the extent possible. So there's no change in any requirement for screening, and there's no proposed change to any trees or shrubbery. So that's either no impact or not applicable, but I would say no impact. Does everyone agree with that?
Yep.
yeah.
Agree.
Thanks. Water and sewer. Adequacy of water supply and sewage disposal facilities and their compliance with New York State and Otsego County Departments of Health requirements are required. Certainly the supply, it's not going to change the sewage at all, and the supply is the village water supply, which
I
is
pay.
certainly compliance. So, and the disposal is all going to be perked on your ground.
Correct.
So I see no impact. Does anyone see any impact?
No impact.
Agree.
Emergency access, adequate provision for fire, police, and other types of emergency vehicles must be made. I would say there's no impact on changing that because it's already provided.
Agree.
Any other thoughts?
No.
Lighting, new buildings and structures must be designed, constructed, maintained, and new and existing vegetation must be managed so as not to unreasonably impede solar radiation on other properties in order to preserve the economic value of solar radiation on building structures and panels. investments in solar energy systems, options for future uses of solar energy. Artificial outdoor lighting must be kept to the minimum intensity needed for the proposed use. Fully shielded to minimize glare and prevent light trespass and sky glow confined within the boundaries of the property. Charlene, do you plan any changes at all to lighting? Are you adding any exterior lights at all?
No, I just have the one motion light on my garage door. My lights are
Okay.
in the garage, so.
And those all exist right now, existed prior to
Yeah.
this? Okay,
No impact.
so I think that's no impact, I agree. Noise, odor, and other irritants, adequate nuisance prevention measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odors, fumes, dust, noise, and vibration that would hinder or discourage the development or use of adjacent parcels and buildings. I'd say there's no impact there. Does anyone know of any impact?
None.
Agree.
Okay,
No
fiscal considerations, the proposed use will not require such additional public facilities or devices as to create a net fiscal burden upon the village greater than those which characterize uses permitted by right. I would say there's no impact there. It's clear that all these special permit criteria are required for something like a home occupation, but they're actually written more for new construction or, an entire new use, I would say, or, more intensive use than the typical home occupation. So I would, everything then either has no impact or not applicable. So I don't see anything there that requires any further study. Or does anyone have any other discussion point or questions?
We talked last time about the, I don't know if it's necessary. We did mention last time of a 18-month time limit and then revisit, which would give people to, the opportunity to see if there is in fact any impact.
Right.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
I have no that whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't remember us actually saying 18 months, but I was thinking at least.
Well, I mean, but we talked
I would-
about a time limit, and 18 months seems to be our go-to time limit.
It is often, yeah, and that would not quite carry her through two busy seasons, but at least, minimally 12 months, because that gives you the full calendar cycle to kind of experience any questions.
Papers,
Okay.
try to help shovel clean. I don't try to cause any excessive noise or cause issues. I try to help everybody. My neighbors help me, I help them. And I'm organic. I'm very, very, very about nature and the land and preserving what we actually have, not trying to deteriorate it in any way or cause any kind of nuisance to anyone around me.
Thank you. Thanks. No, I've gotten that message through your application. I appreciate that very much. So any thoughts on 18 months, a good term? And then basically if we issue it for that, what would come back for review? I don't know whether we would have to go through we probably would have to do another public hearing. So maybe 18 months is probably better than 12 months, just so that there would be, any issue that anyone would raise, there'd be plenty of time for them to raise it. And at that point, unless something's been raised, we'll likely be able to grant it for a longer period, or, as long as you run the business or whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Does 18 months sound like a reasonable criteria in general? Is there any other discussion about a term limit for the first approval? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, me? Yeah, sounds terrific.
Okay, all right. I didn't know you were still with us, Dave. Thanks.
I didn't know if you talked to me. Yeah.
For a while.
Marcy, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to grant a permit to Carlene Quinton of 74 Susquehanna Avenue for a home occupation for a car detailing business. Ready?
Say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, you're waiting for me.
Um,
Yes, I'm ready.
With the provisos that all supplies and work will take place within the garage, all storage of supplies and work will take place within the garage.
Okay,
One customer at a time will be on the property.
Yeah, she said sometimes there may be,
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
oh.
yeah, I know. Maybe strike that.
you may want to say no more than one customer a day or for the detailing. Approach it by.
Right.
For the
time of
detailing,
work.
yes, right. Well, I was thinking, a customer as opposed to, a friend.
A friend or, right.
Yeah. Or her own car if she gets one.
Right. Well, eventually,
But you
I
might
mean-
have two, somebody might, for, a brief
Well,
period of time.
somebody will leave a car in the morning and I'll have somebody bring a car in the morning. and they'll
Yeah,
bring-
let's just strike that. I don't think there's a good way to say it. And if we, so strike that, but then another proviso will comply with all DEC regulations, which it appears you're doing, but we'll just have that in there to make everybody happy. And then we'll have, this permit will have a time limit of 18 months. At which point we can review
Mhm.
for an extension.
Okay, is there a second?
Just one quick question. So we're not limiting her to detailing. I mean, I understand the thing about the fact that there might be two cars there at one point, but you could still specify that only one car can be detailed per day if you wanted to.
Well, I guess we could, okay, yeah. All right, so add that, only one
That
car.
way, if she has
One car will be
people-
detailed at a time.
Right. I
per
don't mean,
day.
but what can happen is sometimes if I have a car, I will finish it by like 11 o'clock and another car will be dropped off. Like, let's say they need to go into work,
Right.
at 7. So I'll be finishing one car, the other car will be on the property, but I physically can only work on one car at a time. So once that's done, that'll be brought up to the side, up to the front, and then I will detail the other car. But like I said, there might be two detailing cars there, but I can only physically work on one at a
Right.
time.
Right,
regardless.
yeah, so that's why, Jane, I was thinking we could safely just drop that.
do you want to say
I don't
only
know.
one car can be detailed at a time with a maximum of 2 cars on the property at any one time?
I don't think we have to do a max, but just one car, and then after 18 months, if there's a problem,
Right,
Right.
so, I mean, I think if we get no pun intended, too detailed, we're just gonna make a mess of things.
but
You
do you
don't
want
need to,
that in
yeah, you
there?
don't need to be that prescriptive.
So do
I
you
know.
want, so get rid of it? It's
Yeah,
gone
get rid
in
of
and
it.
out. Okay,
Get rid of it.
okay. Okay,
So what does it say now?
it says,
Is it finished?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, is there a second first and then we'll read it back?
I'll second it. Oh, I can't.
Okay.
I'm not official today.
I'll second.
second it.
Okay, and Michael, can you read it back?
grant, a permit for 74 Susquehanna for home occupation for a car detailing business with the following conditions. All the storage of supplies and work will take place within the garage. Will comply with all DEC regulations. Will have a time limit, the permit will have a time limit of 18 months, at which point it will be reviewed for possible extension.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Does anyone have any other comments or questions? You ready to vote? I think I'll say your name and then ask you for your vote, okay?
That's a good idea.
Dave
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Marcy,
yes.
Okay, now I have to go down here. Denise,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
Susan, yes. Okay, that's 5. All right, good. All right, so it's granted and it'll be the first village car detailing business to my knowledge. So this will be exciting to see how it works out.
Wonderful. And I
Thank
hope you all might want to get your car cleaned and come and see me.
Very convenient. We can all
There.
walk home.
There.
That's true.
All right. Thank you
Thanks very much.
much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Wonderful.
good night.
Thanks. All right. So our last item is then review of the minutes. Take a couple minutes and everybody let me know when you finish reading them.
Well, I read them earlier, and so I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
As written, Marcy?
Yeah, believe it or not, yeah. Now, did you put something in there that I didn't find?
Not this time.
Ah,
Not this time. Although I think I actually almost misspelled your name on one thing, which was funny, or I caught it myself.
oh, okay, I was gonna say, maybe I didn't read my own name.
Does everyone else need some more time to keep reading it, or tell me when you're done?
I
Well,
reviewed them
I
all.
read it earlier. It looked fine.
Okay. Denise
And I wasn't here, so I won't vote.
and Georgie, you read them?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So is there a second for approval?
I'll second.
Okay, it's Georgia. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good. So, nothing else, unless anyone else wants to talk about anything. And so you look like you have something to say, Marcy?
Oh, no.
Okay. All right. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right.
See you next one. Thank you very much.
Who seconded? Who seconded?
Marcy, right?
Marcy.
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right,
Thank
good night,
you.
everybody.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
All right. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm stopping the recording. I'm stopping.